Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bunny Cakes and today I am filming a bit of a book haul. So I've got some physical books and I've got some audiobooks that I've bought recently that I want to share with you guys. Some of them are books I bought for myself and some of them are books that I bought for Christmas. So first I'm going to go over the books that I got on Audible. And I will post the pictures somewhere, probably up here somewhere. So the first three books that I bought are from the Hellraiser series. I don't know if anybody knows, but they are going to be remaking Hellraiser soon. And I realized that I had not read the actual books from Hellraiser, even though I've watched like nearly all the movies. So the books are The Hellbound Heart, Hellraiser the Toll, and The Scarlet Gospels. So the first book and the third book were written by Clive Barker, and the second book is a shorter book that was written by Mark Allen Miller. And they tell the story about Hellraiser and the Cenobites, and so I'm looking forward to reading them. The Scarlet Gospels, which is the third book, was almost my Christmas present, but when Pygmy and I were looking at what she wanted to get me, I ended up opting for some makeup instead because we found this really cute palette that I wanted instead, and then I ended up getting the Scarlet Gospels in a deal on Audible, so it turned out pretty well. And then the next Audible book that I bought recently is a book called Sarah by J.T. Leroy. And it's read by Billy Corgan. It is a book that was suggested to me by Peter Mon. So it's a story about a girl named Sarah. She never admits that she's the mother of this character in the book. But the beautiful boy has watched her survive as a lot lizard, a prostitute working in the West Virginia truck stops. Desperate to win her love, he decides to surpass her as the best and the most famous lot lizard ever. With his own leather miniskirt and a makeup bag that closes with Velcro, the young Cherry Vanilla embarks on a journey through the Appalachian wilds, dining on transcendental cuisine, supplicating to the mystical jackalope, encountering the most terrifying pimps, walking on water, being venerated as an innocent girl saint, and then being denounced as the devil. By turns exhilarating and shocking, magical and realistic, Sarah brings urgency, wit, and imagination to an unknown and unforgettable world. So if I remember right from what Peter was telling me, J.T. Leroy, this book was written as if J.T. Leroy was a real person, and for a very long time people thought that J.T. Leroy was a real person. They even had an actor dress up as J.T. Leroy. And so Peter said that this would be really interesting. We were talking about it in one of our last book club meetings. And that actually brings me to the other book that I got because of Peter from the same conversation, Party Monster by James St. James. Peter said I would probably really enjoy this book as well. So I went ahead and bought it. I actually found it on eBay of all places. I couldn't find it anywhere else. So I'm definitely interested in this. I didn't realize it was a movie. It's got Wilmer Valderrama in it. And I absolutely love watching James St. James as a drag queen on YouTube and all of that. I think he is absolutely hilarious, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading Party Monster. It's about the club scene and drag back in the day. So looking forward to that. And then moving further into the physical books that I bought, I got The Black Phone Stories by Joe Hill. He's Stephen King's son, and this is an anthology of stories. It's actually, I think, the first anthology that he wrote. The main story is about John Feeney. He's 13, alone, and in desperate trouble. For 2 years now, someone has been stalking the boys of Galesburg, stealing them away, never to be seen again. And now Feeney finds himself in danger of joining them. Locked in a psychopath's basement, a place stained with the blood of half a dozen murdered children. With him in his subterranean cell is an antique phone, long since disconnected, but it rings at night anyway, with calls from the killer's previous victims, and they are dead set on making sure that what happened to them doesn't happen to Feeney. So that is a synopsis for the Black Phone story, and there are 14 other stories in this book. I randomly found this at Walmart. It says that it's actually now a major motion picture with Blumhouse. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I've read a couple of other Joe Hill books, Nosferatu and The Heart-Shaped Box, and I enjoyed them. I also kind of like that Joe Hill is wrapping his universe into Stephen King's universe, so they kind of connect. So this is high on my list of things I want to read. The next book that I got is a book called Phantoms by Dean Koontz. I randomly found this one at Walmart as well, and I like Dean Koontz just as much as I like Stephen King. To me, Stephen King is more visceral and and not necessarily lowbrow, but it's more visceral and more about how you feel. And Dean Koontz's books tend to make me think more. There's more of a chance that I'm going to come across a word I've never read before in Dean Koontz's books. They're more cerebral, so I like them both, and I collect books from both of them. I actually think I have a fair chunk of both of their works. I'm running out of places to put books. And now the last two books I actually physically have on hand are two books that a friend of mine gave me. The first one is Blaze. This is from when Stephen King was writing as Richard Bachman. He wrote four books as Richard Bachman. One of them he took out of print right after Columbine because it had something to do with a school shooting. I actually have a copy of the compendium with all four books, but I also wanted to have them separately because it's easier to read the separate shorter stories than to carry the big chunky book. But this one, the synopsis is, at 6'7" and just under 300 pounds, Clay Blaze Blaisdell is a giant of a man, but his capers were purely small time until he met George Rackley. George introduced a slow-thinking Blaze to a fast-paced world of 100 different cons and one big idea, kidnapping the child of wealthy parents. Their intended mark is the definition of filthy rich, and the last twig on the Gerard family tree could be worth millions. There's only one problem. By the time the deal goes down, the brains of the partnership is dead. Or is he? Now a haunted Blaze is on the run from the authorities with a baby as a hostage, headed straight into the teeth of a howling snowstorm, the crime of the century transformed into a sudden race against time in the whiteout hell of the Maine woods. Okay, so this sounds interesting, and given that we are currently in a snowstorm, it seems like this might be fun to read now. So I might bump this up on my list just to have a kind of fun, thrilling read during the snowstorm we're having. And then this is the other book that Muhammad sent me. It's The Science of Stephen King. So this one, the synopsis says, uncover the theories behind the master of horror's macabre tales. Gothic media moguls Meg Halfdale and Kelly Florence, authors of The Science of Monsters and The Science of Women in Horror, and co-hosts of the Horror Rewind podcast, called the best horror film podcast out there by Film Daddy, present a guide to Stephen King's stories and characters we all know and love. Through interviews, literary and film analysis, and bone-chilling discoveries, The Science of Stephen King delves into the uniquely horrific Stephen King universe to uncover the science behind the legendary novels that have become an integral part of modern pop culture, answering questions such as how does lack of sleep affect the human body, like an insomnia? Is it possible for horrific creatures to exist, like a night shift? And what is the science behind curses and legends, like in Dreamcatcher and Thinner? Join Kelly and Meg as they learn if we all really do float down here. So this is one that I have wanted to read for a long time. Like I said, I love Dean Koontz, but I also, or not Dean Koontz, Stephen King, but I also like to talk about what other people think of him. And then Muhammad is actually sending me one more book. I just haven't got it yet. It may actually be currently hanging out in my P.O. box right now. He sent me Carrie, which I don't have a copy of. Surprisingly, Carrie is like the very first Stephen King book that came out. He almost threw it away, and then his wife took it out and made him get it published. So I'm going to enjoy having a copy of that, even though I've already read it. It's one for my collection. It seems like I've probably bought more books. But if I did, I don't know where they are. I might include them in future book hauls if I didn't include them now and I find them later. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. And I will hopefully be recording on a more regular basis. Have a good day and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.